You get mad at yourself, and then you have a meltdown, and sometimes you act like a little child. Throw yourself on the couch, pull yourself together.
You excited to be here today?
Very excited. We've been looking forward to this for a long time. We actually we came with some friends of ours, and we've had this trip planned for a couple years now. So we're finally here, only here for a day, but we've pretty much finished up, and we had an excellent time. All the workers, they were fun, they were great to talk to. And another thing I thought was funny is there was a few different guys that were tailing their wives, and I thought that was kind of loyal. I saw one man actually helping his wife pick out coordinating fabrics. So I ran around the corner and I told my friend, I said, "You gotta see this. This guy, he's actually helping." So I'm a scrapper. I cannot read patterns to save my life. I don't have the patience to sit down and try to figure out a pattern. I've created my own scraps. I started a couple years ago, creating my own scraps, going to like Joann Fabrics and pulling, you know, hey, can I have a quarter yard? And then making strips or squares. So I've got real bold colors. I've got bins and bins of scraps and squares. I have one really neat thing that I do is I make little postcards. And what I do, it's a church ministry. So I make these postcards. If somebody has surgery or they've lost a spouse, I'll send them a card. And it's got, you know, different fabrics. It could either be little squares and then kind of quilted on there, you know, with the decorative stitching. If I mail them, I put them in a clear plastic envelope, and then it's got a label on it. So as it goes through the Postal Service, everybody gets a touch of happiness. They see that bright little fabric, or, you know, and everyone is different. There are no two that are the same. I do a lot of my stuff in the wintertime. We live in the mountains of Idaho, so it's nice to just look out and see the snow, not have to go anywhere, and just sew away. So that's what I really enjoy. But it's just creativity. I don't, like I said, I don't have the patience for patterns because I get too flustered. So I guess I look at it as art. I express my own, what I think and what I want something to look like.
Right.
Yeah. And then I like to make a lot of bags, like, you know, like tote bag type things. And if I give it as a gift, I'll make a matching postcard. I'll take some of that fabric, make a little postcard to go with it.
Oh, that's so cute and creative. I love that. That's so fun. Where did you come up with that idea?
I actually saw it, I can't take the credit. I saw it on another lady, I can't think of her name right now, R.S. Island Crafts, Robin. She kind of got me on that idea, and then I just kind of ran with it, but the major idea came for her. I love her channel. Batik. And everybody has different color palettes. Like my friend and I, we differ. She likes the neutral, the Civil War type era stuff, and I'm all about big, bold, and beautiful. And I also love novelty fabric, like, because I have grandkids, and I like to make postcards and then send them to my grandkids as well. And I used to put a quarter in the postcard, like tape it, kind of like when I was a kid, but these days that's not good enough. So now it's $5 bills. A lot of times I only buy a quarter yard, and some people, it depends who you get that's cutting. Everybody here has been great about it. But if you put, like, you know, 10 bolts on their cutting table and say, I want a quarter yard of each, they look at you like, are you kidding me? Well, it goes back to the fabric postcards. I don't need yards and yards and yards of something. I want variety. I think about the person that I'm making the card for, and then pick out the fabric for it, you know. But the batiks, definitely, that's my weakness. I love batiks. Wow, that is a good question. Well, years and years ago, and that people are going to cringe when they hear this. Years and years ago, I had a featherweight. My dad was a school teacher, and the school that he taught at, they replaced all of the sewing machines in the home ec room. Well, that's what they used to call it, was home ec, and he brought one home. Well, through all my moves, I was in Michigan. By the time I made it out to Idaho, I still had that featherweight. I hadn't used it, didn't care about it, and I took it to the thrift store. Okay, so that's a bad story. I don't know, I guess just because I love color, I love boldness, and well, look at my shirt. I love color, I love boldness, bright, happy, and I had tried painting before, and I'm not any good at that. So I figured out I could do a stitch, right? So, but yeah, I don't know what actually got me into it. But to this day, I kick myself about that featherweight. I don't know that I would use it, but every time you watch somebody on YouTube, what do they have in the back? They got those featherweights, you know, so it would have been nice to keep it. I mostly use one now. Post-COVID, I got problems with my hands with arthritis, so now I don't like to do any stitching. So this was quite a ways back, and I think it was just out of necessity because I really wanted to complete a blanket. And I mean, it was just like a twin size, but I really wanted to do something. But as far as like hand stitching things or embroidering, to me, that for my personality, it doesn't mesh. It's too tedious. I'm more like quick on the ball type, and I can't just, that's not me. None in the recent, as far as quilts. I made the one hand, but it was like the twin size quilt. I did that one by hand. Oh, I actually did 2 other twin size when my kids were little. That was on the featherweight. I did those 2. And then I did a quilt which I consider super special. There was some problems with one of our friends' family, and I made the woman a quilt. It was jean material and like the red paisley kind of patches. And I sewed a mustard seed in with the tag, like, you know, from the Bible, the seed, mustard, faith of a mustard seed. And that one was really special. But they were never full size, queen size, king size. They were just twins. If I push myself past the point of no return, if it's late in the day and you're thinking, oh, I just want to get this done, well, then you start getting sloppy, and then you get mad at yourself, and then you have a meltdown, and sometimes you act like a little child. Throw yourself on the couch, pull yourself together. But yeah, I think just I'm my own taskmaster where I want to get something done, and I'll stay up at all hours to do it, but then you're not doing it the best that you can. So that's kind of like a weak part on mine, and I'm sure there's other people that do that too. You start going sloppy, you start racing, and you start going fast. And but mainly I guess back to your question, I like the creativity aspect. And I think that's why I don't like patterns. I think, don't get me wrong, they're gorgeous, and I love the way they turn out, but it's just not me. Learn how to measure. I'm not joking on that, because I have a real hard time to this day. I'm admitting this to the world. I have a hard time with that. I guess because I don't shine in math. And so measuring and precision, that's another thing besides patterns that scares me away. Learn the good concepts of how to measure. You know, and what's the other advice? Measure twice, cut once, right? Yeah, but the measuring thing, because talk to anybody, talk to Jenny. If you're doing blocks and you're off, by the time you get further down the line, the mistake gets worse. So, yeah, I think my favorite thing is making little wall hangings and stuff, or placemats, and get good enough at something. Like, this is advice to new time people. Don't start off big. Don't say, I'm gonna make a king size quilt. Start off making some placemats and get those down pat and go, okay, I think I'm gonna make a set for every different month of the year. That way they're building up their skills and then they can move up to the king size quilt. I think it's easy. It's like the coloring, it's therapy. And the colors make me happy. This is kind of a funny thing. If I have insomnia at night, I think about new fabric that I bought and I picture myself sewing with it. If you can get your mind on something nice when you're sleeping, because a lot of times when you're trying to go to sleep, your mind will go to a bunch of bad things or situations in your life, and if you can just think of something happy. But I think that's the biggest thing. I like the colors, I like looking at it, I like the accomplishment. Again, you know, pot holders, you know, small little things that you can have out. You know, you're having people over, company for a meal, and you got, you know, all your little casserole dishes, and underneath it there's something that you made, and yeah. Hi, my name's Julie Allen, and I'm from Idaho City, and this is why I quilt.